Welcome to the House of Blue podcast. I'm your host, Veronica Theodoro. Today's episode is one I've been looking forward to for a while because I'm interviewing someone whose work I genuinely admire. Meagan Cooperman of Cooperman & Co. Interiors is an interior designer based in St. Louis. And she just took home top honors at the Architect and Designer Awards in the category of Transitional Interior Design, a very big deal in this world. We're going to learn about that project, find out what transitional design really means, and how she builds spaces that feel collected rather than decorated. Whether you're mid renovation, daydreaming about one, or just here for the beautiful rooms, you're going to love this conversation. But before we get started, here's what's been going on in and around my house. This episode of House of Blue is sponsored by Opera Theater of St. Louis. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's hard to believe that another Architect and Designer Awards event has come and gone. Last month's party might have been one of my all-time favorites, and I've hosted quite a few, maybe 10? Anyway, who's counting? But this year's party was held at the spectacular Powell Hall Jack C. Taylor Music Center, which everyone kept commenting on. And I loved having that extra hour or two after the awards to actually socialize with the designers. I heard from a lot of you that you felt the same way, so we'll keep that in mind going forward. On the home front, I couldn't be more excited to say that the first truckloads of trees arrived this week on my street and are being planted as I speak. Just seeing them all wrapped up in their burlap sacks is super uplifting. The journey here has been a neighborhood wide effort that's taken us almost a year since the tornado to realize. And so I'm super, super grateful to see the progress. I am also moving full steam ahead on the landscape design for my front yard. A couple of weeks ago, I met with Rebecca Eisel of Salix Garden Design to talk through what I want for the space. And I'm really excited to see what she comes up with. She mentioned something about terraces, so we'll see. Anyway, gardens are taking up more of my mental space these days. So, to help beginners like me, I have decided to start a garden column in the newsletter beginning this month. Each column will feature local experts sharing their monthly task list with us. May's just posted to the website and it's packed with tons of good information. One more bit of local news before we get started with my conversation. I ran into Danielle Kalish of Abode recently and was excited to hear that she's moving into a bigger space in Webster Groves. When I followed up with her for more details, she was in Europe on a sourcing trip, which should tell you everything you need to know about what's headed to St. Louis through her store. Danielle is taking over the former Busy Bee Motor Car Company building on Lockwood. It's a gorgeous 1920s space that was the former headquarters for Eurotrash, another fabulous St. Louis interior design firm. And I can't wait to see what she does with it. All right, everyone, let's get into my conversation with Meagan Cooperman. This episode of House of Blue is sponsored by Opera Theater of St. Louis. Celebrate the 2026 festival season May 23rd through June 27th, featuring the hilarious comedy The Pirates of Penzance, the award-winning musical The Light in the Piazza, the sizzling drama A Streetcar Named Desire, and the romantic classic Romeo and Juliet. Experience world-class opera, enjoy garden picnics before the show, and join in unforgettable after-parties. Tickets start at just $25. Get yours at experienceopera.org. Right. Well, welcome back, everyone. I am here with Meagan Cooperman, interior designer based in St. Louis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so thrilled to be here.
And thank you for the gorgeous pink peonies.
You're
I love them.
welcome. They bloomed a week early this year, so I'm so excited, and I'm making bouquets for everyone. Their shelf life's not super long, so I have to take advantage of it.
Yes. Yes. Are you a gardener?
I am a gardener, shockingly. I never thought I would be a gardener, but during COVID, that's what we did. I got so into it, and, I'd always been so focused on interiors. It was a great way and a great outlet for me to explore that side of design. So I went a little crazy, and we actually inherited our gardens from my mother-in-law, who we purchased our home from,
Okay.
and she's an avid gardener. So we had been maintaining, but I
Mhm.
didn't quite get into it until COVID.
And where do you live?
I'm in Glendale.
Oh, lovely.
Yep. So I love Glendale, very central,
Older home.
older home, almost 100. So, all of the joys that come with that. But
Yes.
I love an old home. Prior to Glendale, we were in U City.
Also fab.
Yep. Loved the architecture there.
Well, congratulations on your Architect and Designer Award in the category of Transitional Interior Design. This is very exciting. Walk us through the moment when you found out
Sure.
you're taking home the award.
The funny thing about this particular ADA Awards was I almost didn't enter. I
Really?
got my photos back the day
Oh,
of the deadline. And my studio mate, Ashley Obradovitz, was like, "You have to enter." And I'm like, "I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I don't have time to enter. I don't know what I'm going to do with these photos." And she's like, "Just do it." So
thanks, Ashley.
I thank you, Ashley. I stopped everything I was doing. And my director of operations that works with me, Emily, we just hustled and we got the submissions all done that day. And, then I kind of forgot about it, as you do. So
Yes.
when the nominations came out, I was just floored to even be nominated within my first year of my own firm. And then the evening of, I was just so hoping I would win one. But I think the competition this year was so fierce.
Yes,
There were so many categories that I was like, I don't even know what I would pick because there were some great submissions.
there really were.
It was amazing. So I will say transitional interiors was the one I most had my eye on and was hoping for. When I heard that, and it was more towards the end, I was just like, yes, thank you. This is so exciting. It meant a lot just because that particular submission, you can submit more than just one or two photos. I think I submitted like 6 to 8 photos. So the judges really get to see the context of the whole project
Right.
as opposed to just a part of it. So that made me really happy. I was just thrilled. And then I sat back down knowing we were kind of towards the end. I was very, phew, I can breathe. I got the award I wanted. I was over the moon. My design friends that were there got awards that they hoped for. And then minutes later, the cover pops up. And I mean, when I tell you I was shocked,
Oh,
all the years I've been going to the ADAs, which is a long time. And I know that the cover is, that's kind of one of the biggest,
sure.
most fun things about the whole night is that at the end you get to take the magazine home and you get to see all the winners. And I completely forgot about that part. Never even crossed my mind because I was so concerned with the other nominations. And so I don't get surprised often, but I will say it was like the surprise of my life.
Oh, I love
And I just see it up there and it was just not computing.
Mhm.
I'm like, what? I don't even know what I did or said. And my husband doesn't either. He was right next to me. I'm so glad he was there because he also was just as shocked as I was. So it was an amazing moment. I will remember it forever. Not only that, I love this cover.
Yes,
I think it
show
is like
it.
the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And
really cool.
I have gotten just so many compliments on, like, that is such a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's just awesome with the ombre and the way it
Oh,
flows with the project itself.
yes.
It's just unreal.
Yes, our creative director, Tom White, had a really great time designing this with the two-tone
Love it.
playing off of the wallpaper.
I
I love this style.
obsessed.
Yeah,
I did reach out to him on Instagram and thanked him. I'll have it forever. It's
of course.
definitely something I'll cherish, and I did take the gigantic poster board home as well.
Do you have it in your office?
Not yet. It's still at home. I need to bring it into the office. We'll do something with it.
So tell us a little bit about this project. What did the client want, and what were you trying to communicate through your design?
Sure. So this project is called the Gilded Walnut Estate. Um, it was a new build. I came into it after the architectural plans were drafted, but still able to tweak a few things with the client. And I just worked really hand in hand with her to build her dream home, is what it was. And she had just this idea that this was going to be the home for entertaining for her family. She has a lot of siblings and, nieces and nephews and her daughter. And she really just wanted to build this for them.
Okay.
Um, and I loved that. I just connected with it immediately and I connected with her. And she had a really open approach and was collaborative in the sense that she was game. She was game for anything. And she wanted it to be warm and inviting, but have a bit of the wow factor.
It certainly does.
It does have
Yes.
a wow factor.
Was she an existing client of yours?
No, she
Okay.
found us through an ad and or her sister did actually. So that it was fitting and the rest went from there.
So
What
you designed the entire home.
the entire
The
home.
entire home. Okay.
Yes, it was a couple year long process and project really from, start to completion. It was every single thing from the grout, the tile, the accessories in the bathroom, each and every item was hand selected. That's the lane I love to be in. I
Okay.
love new builds, I love renovations. I always say I love long-term relationships, you know?
Yes.
It's a long process, and when you have that great chemistry with the client and designer, builder, the architect, when you have a team that all works really well together, that's the sweet spot. That's where I think amazing things happen.
Hmm. I really gravitated to the color selection
Yes.
throughout the home because they're interesting combinations, one, but you don't always see these colors,
Yeah.
I think. And so I thought that's what made this home so special and unique. And then, of course, I noticed all of the hardware, the
Yeah.
poles. There's clearly intentionality behind
Yes.
every
The
decision.
lighting, the hardware, all those final layers definitely were all thought through. One of the things that kind of started the palettes for each room was really the stone.
Oh,
I
okay.
started
Yeah,
with
makes
some
sense.
amazing, like, marbles and quartzites, and that's when I realized, like, okay, she's really up for going bold on the stone selection, and let's let that be the star a bit, and let's let that dictate where some of these palettes go. So, as you walk through the rooms, you can kind of see that the palettes emerged a bit from these amazing
Yes.
marbles and quartzites, which are some of my absolute favorite
Yes.
materials to work with. And from there, we just tried to select interesting materials. I always love to do a little bit of the unexpected. So each room has a little bit of an unexpected touch. The great room, for instance, that wallpaper, she was adamant we just do an accent wall. And I was like, no, let's wrap it.
Yes.
But it's a two-story room. It's a lot
Okay.
of that would be a lot of
Yes.
orange wallpaper. And in the end, she went for it,
For it.
and she loves it,
Ugh.
and I love it. And they're just walking through the home, it's one thing to see it in print, which is amazing, but when you are there, you can feel the warmth, you can feel the coziness, like, you want to hang out there.
Yeah. What a gift.
So mission
Yes. Mission
accomplished.
accomplished for sure. How do you explain transitional design to people who may not really know what that means?
I think that transitional for me and why I chose that category was really I'm a little bit in between. I wouldn't
Between traditional
and
and
modern.
modern.
Yes. I wouldn't say I'm uber modern and contemporary, and I also wouldn't say that I'm traditional, but I have elements of each of those styles in my work. And I think that a lot of what I do and what my eye is drawn to is an organic mix of the two,
Okay.
along with whatever the client's really drawn to. If the client is very drawn to Art Deco or mid-century modern, then we kind of fuse that in too. So transitional to me can mean a lot of things, but in this sense, it felt like a bit of the in between.
How are you careful to make sure that you're being intentional or thoughtful in that nebulous space? Some people feel like, oh, is that sort of an undecided
Sure.
aesthetic?
Yeah. So we have a 7 phase process that we follow.
Oh, wow.
And the first phase is called our foundation phase. And within that phase, we really get to know the client really well up front, not just aesthetically, but also functionally. How do you live? What are you drawn to? What materials do you like? What patterns do you like? And we create a mood board for the whole project, which kind of acts as the guide. So you're not getting all willy nilly in one bathroom's uber modern and another
Right.
area's overly traditional. It's like we have a roadmap
Mhm.
of the overall vibe that we're going for. And my job is to make that cohesive throughout the space.
What would you say are mistakes that people make when attempting a transitional aesthetic in their home?
Probably just being a little disconnected from one space to the next. I'm not big on labels. I am more about use what you love and then let a design professional put it together for you. And we will make that cohesive.
I would love to rewind a little bit and talk to you about your career and how you got started. We were saying before the show that you and I have never really had the opportunity to sit down in person
Right.
and chat. Obviously, you've been in the business for a long time and we've interviewed you over the years,
Yeah.
but it's so nice to be with you in person. How did you know interior design was the path for you?
I don't think I knew so much as it just was happening. It was just stepping into a room and redesigning it in my head. I would walk into a space and it wouldn't feel right, and I would tweak it in my mind. And I didn't even realize I was doing it.
Okay.
It's just how it began. And then just throughout my childhood into high school, anytime I could redo a friend's room, rearrange for them,
Yeah.
organize their closet, um, I would do it.
Did you study interior
I
design
did.
in college and
Yes, it was
okay.
very one track mind. Like
Okay.
it was, I'm going to be an interior designer. I'm going to go to design school. I'm going to get my degree in design, and that's what I'm going to do. While I was still in school, an internship came through my email, and it was for an intern position at Schneider Decoration and Design.
Wonderful.
And that's where I got my start. I interned and then I kind of moved up to be, the right hand assistant to the principal designer.
Okay.
And that's where I learned really all the fundamentals
Mhm.
of this business and also what it could be.
Right.
The projects that Ken was working on, were so mind-blowing to me. We
Mhm.
got to work on estates in Dallas and Barbados and,
Yeah.
just projects that you can only dream of and that you see in magazines, but you don't ever get to see up close. So it was a wonderful start.
Mhm. And how long were you there?
I was there for about 4 years,
Okay.
and then I moved on to a more modern firm, and that's where I felt a little bit more in my stride of
Okay.
like, "Okay, this is probably a bit more of my aesthetic than Ken is much more of a traditionalist," but I still had those roots, and so I think, again, that's where that transitional comes in for me, is that
Okay.
it was always a fusion of the 2 different styles and kind of what was
Yeah.
influenced.
Do you remember your first project?
Well, one of my first ones that I would consider real work that went on to get published was a barn
Oh,
in Bowling Green, Missouri.
okay.
We built it from the ground up. It was a several-year process. There were so many layers, and it was a completely different style than I'd ever done, and that, again, reassured me I like everything. I'm a chameleon. I love when clients come to me with a bit of a different perspective and a different lane or style that they want to be in.
And so now you've moved on from working at other design firms. You've opened up your own firm.
Yeah,
It's been a year,
not even.
not even a
We're
year.
almost a year in.
Wow. How's that? And you are right up the street
Yeah, we're
from
neighbors.
us.
Mhm.
You're very close to design and detail,
Yes.
obviously close to Ashley's firm.
Yeah. We're in
What's
the same
in
building.
the same building?
Yeah, we share the space. So Ashley Obradovitz and I saw each other about a year and a half ago or so at a design event, and we're both thinking of transitioning to our own firms. And we said, okay, let's just keep each other in mind and let's help each other. Maybe that's sharing a space, maybe that's just sharing an intern. And things progressed pretty quickly from there. She called me and was like, I found a space. You gotta come see it. I'm like, how much is it? She's like, "Just come." Like, "Fine." So I go, and it's the Mule Barn across from D&D in the same parking lot, and it's funny because all the years of going to design and detail, I
Right.
didn't
Yeah.
even really realize it was there. It was a tech firm before,
Okay.
and they moved out, and Melinda from D&D wanted to have some interior designers move in, and
Smart.
we were lucky enough to get the space, and it has been just amazing, not only to be so close to design and detail, having that as an arm of the studio is unbelievable.
Mhm.
But one of my hesitations of going out on my own was always, I don't want to do it alone. I love being part of a team. I love working with other women every day. And this was a way to be solo, but not alone.
Okay.
And I there's nothing but good things I can say about it. It's been extraordinary.
So, do the 2 of you collaborate, or do you mean you just wanna be able to be surrounded by people during the day to
Yeah,
be able to, like,
it's more
bounce
like
ideas off of.
it's more like that.
Okay.
We're totally separate businesses. We actually have completely different aesthetics, but it's nice to just say, "Hey, how did you handle a problem like this?" Or "How do you guys price this?" Or "Where do you source for this?" And it's given us each a glimpse into another way to run a business, which is always,
It's
invaluable
super helpful.
information. And then we have a third designer in our space, Julie Redmond from Lilac Leopard Boutique,
Okay.
and she is in home staging as well as interior design.
Tell me a little bit about the direction you see your firm going in, goals that you might have for this next year. The ADAs have come and gone. You've got this cover. What are you working on that is exciting to you?
I'm working on a lot of different things. We are really in the process of getting the right team in place. I am so lucky to have my director of operations, Emily, who came on with me pretty early on. She is my other half in a sense that we speak the same language, but our strengths lie in entirely different areas. She is, the business side and the numbers person and the processes and systems, which I need so much to be able to do the creative that I love. We also have a project manager, an intern. We have a remote drafter and a remote social media person.
Okay.
So as of now, we've got a small team and we're really working on honing in on getting the right positions in place so that we can do what we love, which is new builds, full renovations, working with builders, and choosing projects wisely, choosing projects that speak to me and get my creative juices going and are more long term, maybe having 3 to 5 a year, as opposed to in the past, I've been on teams where I've done 10 to 15 at a time,
Oh, wow.
which,
That's a lot.
it's a lot,
Absolutely.
and I loved it, but being a little bit more selective so I can work on the business side as well as the design clients.
I'm wondering if you see any major shifts in the local St. Louis design market. Are clients asking for certain elements in a home that might differ from what they were asking for 5 years ago? Are there less clients?
There's certainly not less clients out there. I feel really fortunate in these last few years to have met so many other designers in St. Louis. And I think there's an overall really supportive vibe and community where we know that there's enough work for everyone. So let's support each other and let's figure out how we can be the best industry we could be while rooting for each other. As far as clients and what the need is, I do think COVID changed people's perspectives quite a bit, where they are focusing on function.
Okay.
They're focusing on, well, what if another pandemic were to happen?
Yeah.
Where would we work in our homes? And I think people reevaluated how they were living in their space or not living in their space. So I think function is important to clients. It's not just about being pretty, that's a given. We're
Right.
going to make your home beautiful. It's about really fully understanding how they're living day to day and how we can make every process of their day a little bit easier, a little smoother, enjoyable,
Yeah.
relaxing, just having that sanctuary to come back to, and that all starts with function.
Is that a design philosophy, would you
Yeah.
say, for yourself and for your
For
firm?
sure. I think, going back to our process, that foundation phase is really about function.
Mm.
My other favorite philosophy is like, buy what you love.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid. Like, if you are, at a great antique store or you are on a trip, especially, and something just speaks to you, buy it. We'll work it in because that's your style.
Mhm.
That's what you love.
Yeah.
And if people would trust their instinct a little more, they would develop that style, and that's what I do. I am helping you develop and translate your style.
Love that. What does your own home look like? I'm curious.
Well, it's eclectic, um, i is the best way to describe it. I'm gonna photograph it one of these days. I just can't get all of the projects done.
I want to photograph my house too.
Yeah, you
Just to
absolutely
have
should.
that.
It's just a moment. My daughter's 8 years old. I would love to have this frozen, with her playroom and her little girl room. Um, it's very eclectic. So my late father-in-law was a antiques collector
Oh,
and a huge collector of St. Louis World's Fair memorabilia,
cool.
Native American art, and so we have a lot of incredible pieces of art, furniture, and then you mix that with me. I have a 1970s vintage glass and green cocktail table from Mo Modern that I'm obsessed with.
Yeah.
So it's transitional for sure because it is an absolute mix of really everything I love, and it's ever changing, of course.
Yes,
You
of
know, as
course.
soon as I get done with one room, we start over.
Is there anywhere in St. Louis in particular that you like to shop for home?
Well, I love Mo Modern. I love when she does, like, her online sales and, her quick Instagram sales. I'm always like, "Yes." I love Abode by Parkland. We talked about
Yes.
Danielle. I think she is bringing a really unique element into our design community. I love the showrooms, obviously, are
Yeah.
kind of our backbone, KDR and Design and Detail. Story 7 for accessories and just fun little add-ons.
What's one thing every house should have that costs almost nothing?
Flowers.
Flowers.
Plants.
Agreed.
Again, I'm a fairly new gardener, but just having fresh flowers around, a plant, it just brightens the room. It gives it life, it gives it depth, and I'm all about creating those layers of.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there a trend that you're excited about?
I don't, like, love trends. I love when a trend is called a trend, but it's totally classic. When it has kind of a resurgence, like, right now, I feel like checkerboard floors are having a major moment, which I love,
Yes.
and I guess it's trending, but it's also, historically relevant as well.
And final question, what do you think St. Louis brings to design that maybe the coastal cities miss?
I think that because we're in the middle and we have just our own perspective. We're not trying to define ourselves so much as one style. I think LA definitely has an aesthetic, and Manhattan, there's aesthetics that you can picture
Yes.
when you think of those coastal cities. I think what we do really well is be authentically ourselves, and we like what we like, and we are designing our homes more and more to reflect our personalities, not to fit into a category, and I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think we're so fortunate to have such variety of architecture to
Sure.
be inspired by.
We have a lot of wonderful things that I think people might miss and don't know about the Midwest, but we also have incredible interior designers and an incredible design scene.
It is such an honor to write about your business and
Yeah.
cover all of you. And obviously, the Architect and Designer Awards is such a highlight for us at St. Louis Magazine.
Everything about it was amazing, and it's definitely something I'll never forget, so thank you so much for
Absolutely. Yeah.
having us.
And then the podcast. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
This episode of House of Lou is supported by Cardinals Nation. Before the first pitch at Busch Stadium, get the party started at the Cardinals Nation pregame party. Enjoy a full buffet, an all-inclusive bar, and live DJ entertainment. All just steps from the ballpark at Cardinals Nation Restaurant and Bar. Doors open 2.5 hours before game time, so you can grab a drink, settle in, and soak up the energy before heading to your seats. Get tickets at cardinalsnation.com/pregame. And now on to these views. All right, everyone, here are 3 events to mark on your calendar for the month of May. If you love anything with a little bit of green thumb energy, the next few weeks are stacked. First up, Wild Ones St. Louis and Bring Conservation Home are teaming up for the 9th annual St. Louis Native Plant Garden Tour. 8 private gardens are throwing open their doors. If you've ever wondered what a native plant garden looks like in real life, not on Pinterest, but in someone's actual backyard, this is your chance to take a peek behind the fence. Next, mark your calendar for May 30th at Perennial, where Amy of Hair and Bear is teaching a dried floral wreath workshop. Amy will walk you through picking the right foliage, sourcing it sustainably, drying it properly, and then arranging all those colors and textures onto a hoop. And then on June 6th, it's the one I circle on my calendar every single year, the Lafayette Square Spring Home and Garden Tour. 12 historic houses, their gardens, plus a spring market and an antique fair. All right, everyone. I hope you loved this episode as much as I did, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. Thank you for listening to House of Lou. Our episodes drop once a month. Be sure to follow us and share the episode with your friends. Be in touch. Subscribe to our design and home newsletter at stlmag.com/newsletters and follow along on Instagram at stlewismag. And you can follow me, VT Lookbook. If you like what you've heard, show us some love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you choose to listen. We'll see you next time, and just remember, there's so much to see in St. Louis if you know where to look. This is a production of St. Louis Magazine, produced by Kylie Green Lemoyne, edited and booked by Veronica Theodoro, audio and video editing by Henry Cohen.